Hello my friends, Mina Geek here reporting for GPU June, and what you see here, standing proud and majestic, is a video card eager for adventure. And because we love Radeon video cards...
My friend, this is an Nvidia video card.
What the... a red Nvidia card? Now this is a shocker. Next you'll be telling me that this cooler isn't actually made of copper.
Yeah, it's painted aluminum.
Oh boy, so let me get this straight. This is a red GeForce video card and it has a copper colored aluminum cooler? What's next? Is the Mina Geek going to announce he's working on a video about a $2000 retro computer? Until then, please like this video and subscribe if you want to see that other video. Thanks a lot. This video card is an MSI GeForce4 Titanium 4200, an amazing video card from 2002. And it's amazing because it pretty much got Nvidia out of a tight spot. It was much cheaper than the Titanium 4600 or 4400 with performance that wasn't that much lower. And so Nvidia managed to enter the competitive space created by ATI with their Radeon 8500LE, a video card for which Nvidia had no real competition. And now I'm reading what the guys from Extreme PC, a Romanian publication from back in the day, said. In games, you will feel almost no difference between a GeForce4 Ti 4200 and a GeForce4 Ti 4400. One more thing, in June of 2002, a card like this had a cost of around $200. That was pretty expensive back then, considering you could buy a GeForce4 MX 4400 for under or around $100. But we'll look at this later. To see its performance, I'm going to use this computer, a Pentium 4 Northwood on socket 478 with 2GB of DDR 400MHz RAM and Windows XP. This CPU came out in January of 2002, just 1 month before this GeForce4 Ti, so it's a CPU you could have very well owned in 2002 to pair it with this video card. And because this really is a beautiful video card, I'll let you enjoy its company for a bit. I've had this video card for about 2.5 years and I think it's time to change its paste and see if the heatsink is really copper through some advanced chemical, to be understood rather physical, procedures. Looking at it now, I almost feel bad putting my screwdriver everywhere on it, but I'd feel even worse if the chip burned out. So I took it apart. The mounting system for the cooler is very simple, it only has 2 clips. I do appreciate that this cooler has a backplate on the back, obviously. It seems a bit more premium. Nice job, MSI. Although it was simple, I didn't understand at first that you have to remove the backplate first and only then the front part. On the back we have 4 memory chips. They have paste, it's not super hardened, but it's worth changing since I've already taken it apart. I also removed the front part and here it is. The chip itself, something to behold for sure. My dream from 2002. I cleaned all 8 memory chips and this is what the card looks like, while naked and clean. But none of that matters because we finally reached the moment of truth. What is it, my friend? Copper or aluminum? Well, I can tell you before I even start the procedure, it's aluminum because it's very light. But let's scratch this right here and see. Yep, we have a silver color underneath. Now I don't know, I kind of skipped geography, but I thought copper was the color of copper, not silver. This is aluminum. Now the big problem is that while spreading the paste, I ran out of paste to spread. I emptied like 3 syringes, still wasn't enough. In the end I found one hidden away somewhere and managed to put some paste on the die as well. How good is that paste? I have no idea whatsoever. Anyway, the cooler went back on very easily, which is nice, and we're ready for action. Finally. Since the video card is from February 2002, I thought I'd try some games from 2002 and then move upwards towards 2003 and 2004 to see how it handles newer and more demanding games. We'll start with the well-known Dungeon Siege, a game released in 2002 that is so unique that it's pretty much the only game of its kind. So yeah, although it was labeled a Diablo 2 clone, I can tell you as a huge Diablo 2 fan that the two games have nothing to do with each other. They are totally different games, they play totally differently, they have totally different mechanics. This game sold around 1.7 million copies, which for that time and for this genre is a lot. And it was the 3rd best RPG of 2002 on Metacritic, after Morrowind and Neverwinter Nights. So, with all of these on the screen, including those beautiful transparency effects, you'd expect the game to require a very powerful system. And it does, you need a lot of processing power. And look at that, this GeForce 4 can handle the game quite well, I'd say. I'm using a resolution of 1024x768, all settings high, including dynamic shadows for all units, and we're always between 40 and 60 FPS. Impressive, really. However, there are also areas where the performance drops quite a bit, down to 30 FPS. But even so, the game runs well. You need about 15 FPS to feel like it's running poorly and be unable to play it. And even at 15 FPS, you just sit and watch as your hero engages in battles for himself. Good for him. And now we're moving from one 2002 classic to another 2002 classic, set in the 30s, Mafia. And this time we have some more relevant stats about performance. I don't want to talk about the game itself, I'm going to upload it on this channel soon because on my other channel I've decided to you know what, I'm going to make a video soon about the future of Midnight Geek YouTube channel. I'll say it from the start, Mafia feels bad at 30 FPS, only after 40 FPS can I say the game runs smoothly. So let's see, I'm using 1280x1024 maximum settings. So what do you think of that? Which one of you was playing with everything maxed out in 2002? I sure wasn't. First of all, the game uses almost 60 megabytes from the video card's memory, and the video card has only 64 megabytes, so we're pretty much at the limit. Second, the CPU doesn't seem to be used at even 50% of its capacity. If you look at the CPU, you'll see it often stays below 10%. It's worth mentioning that this Pentium 4 is not a dual core, but has hyper-threading, which is why it shows CPU 1 and CPU 2. And actually, performance in games is weaker with hyper-threading enabled. Everything looks nice, especially if we look at the average FPS, which is over 50. Elegant, I would say. Yes, elegant, but not the elegance of rich ladies listening to jazz at midnight, but the elegance of a sweaty gangster sweaty t-shirt. That's because the 1% lows are around 10 FPS, which means the game stutters like mad. I tried driving around the city, and this time the average FPS is 39, but the 1% lows are still around 10, so we have the same thing. The problem is I don't know when and how those performance drops to 10 FPS occur. It seems to be something more subtle that I'm apparently missing. And speaking of subtlety, no one is more subtle than Kate Archer, the protagonist of the No One Lives Forever series of 2 games. Right now I'm in the second game. Well, she is subtle, but I'm not when I play as her because I don't believe in subtlety. Maybe that's why I'm not such good friends with stealth games. Much better this way. The game looks amazing, the visuals are truly gorgeous. And yes, this is a game from 2002. There are some areas where the FPS drops considerably, going from 70-80 down to 25 FPS, and it drops suddenly. I'm sure there are some elements, effects, or who knows what weird things that the developers didn't bother to optimize. I remember many years ago when I was working on a game, I created a scene and made the game to run. I had a map with some basic terrain that has some random textures, and I had a character that I could move around in that world. And I know I had sprinkled all sorts of objects on the map, but in one place I had a chest or something like that, exported from mistake from 3ds Max with a huge number of polygons. And when I looked in the direction of the chest, the game moved very slowly. It's the same here. Most likely it's a piece of lamppost that has 10,000 polygons. I mean, what were you thinking, developers? For example, look here, looking to the left, 60 FPS, looking a little to the right, 20 FPS. Halo Combat Evolved came out in 2001 on Xbox and in 2003 on PC, and the game looks good. It supports Pixel Shader 2.0 and has some pretty advanced shaders for its time. Although right now we only have Pixel Shader 1.4, because that's all the video card can handle. Maybe that's why the game seems to run better for me than it did on a Radeon 9600 XT, a card that is far superior to this GeForce 4. It runs better because the GeForce 4 only renders Pixel Shader 1.4 effects or even none at all, while the Radeon renders 2.0. I'm using 1024x768 with medium settings and yeah, it runs pretty well, I'm a little impressed. Good job, card! Now, yeah, if there are scenes with more objects and more enemies during fights, I get about 20 FPS. But that's about what you had on the Xbox anyway, and you don't really need precision in this game. It's not like you need precision like in other FPS games. Here you have a circle, you point the circle at the enemies, you shoot, and you hope you hit something. And usually it seems like you do. But before finishing with Halo, I want to show you something weird, a very interesting weapon. This thing, you say it has a spiky hair, look at how it shoots and how those spikes disappear. Very cool. But enough about that, let's return to our own lands. And after being in Chicago, Japan and space, it seems normal to land in Sweden, where there is a lot of snow. I did not expect that. This is Colin McRae Rally 3, a game released in 2003, and it's a rally game, what more can I say? I never understood the differences between the different rally games. They all have the same cars, the same tracks, the same game modes. Only the visuals differ, but that's not so important. The handling, I don't know my friends, to me it seems they all move the same. The car always slides like you're on ice. But even though I'm not a big fan, I saw this map and these fine trees and the way it's snowing, and it melted my heart. Get it? Because the car's engine is hot and the snow? Okay, bad joke. You'd rather prefer these jokes to be written by AI? They would be something like this. Why did the floppy disk go to the psychologist? Because it had too many bad sectors and couldn't handle the pressure anymore. Yikes. Okay, thank you Claude. Okay, performance. First, I'm playing at 1280 by 1024 maximum settings. Second, the game only uses 24 MB of the video card's memory. And it seems obvious why. I think at most 5 trees are loaded into memory and those trees are multiplied n times to create the forest. We have one car and the rest is the road and some snow. That's it. See, this is an optimized game. The developers knew how to use the resources to the max and the game runs great. 60 average FPS, 34 1% lows and 0.1% lows. I also like that a lot of snow stays on the car, it looks really nice. And to stay in the spirit of the winter holidays, we'll go a bit further south and stop in Belgium, in Call of Duty United Offensive, where to my shock and amazement, there is no training mission at the beginning. You are thrown directly into the war. Now that's how I like it. Also, what a way to start the game. I'm thrown directly into a bloody battle, and after I take down a few enemy soldiers, the bad guys decide to bring in a tank. Is that fair, my friends? I thought if I kept bugging you, we'd have some disagreements, but not like this, to call in your bigger brother. Anyway, I ran. What else could I do? I ran at about 35 FPS average. It's not a very fast escape, but it's okay. At 35 FPS you can get away, you can hit some enemies, you can aim your weapon. Yeah, we have 30 FPS 1% lows. Who cares? In war, a man might stumble, the horse might trip. You will also have freezes, especially during the winter. Get it? World War II remastered in color and HD, because I'm playing at 1280 by 1024 maximum settings. The video card gave it 60 MB of video memory, the CPU is also giving us all it has, 100% even if it shows 50%, it's 100%, trust me. And after I run from the tank, I get in a jeep and the classic session follows where someone else drives and you shoot with the machine gun. It's not bad, it's quite entertaining, but I don't like scripted scenes, I find them boring. Also, I hate it when you lose control of your character, like in 80% of console games. And here in this area the performance drops quite a bit. Open field, lots of units, lots of projectiles, lots of effects. 14 FPS. Not good, but if you only have 1 or 2 of this per level, it's acceptable. You won't die. Well, you won't die if you're already dead, right? Or aren't vampires dead? I still haven't figured that out very well. Anyway, another thing I haven't understood is why this game has 30 FPS everywhere and 10 FPS here. Oh wait, it runs poorly here too. You know what? For RPG games from 2004, performance was not the strong part, and the great RPGs of that time, like the current Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Gothic, Knights of the Old Republic and others, all had 3 things in common. They were full of bugs, they were atmospheric, and they were immersive. I played the game for about 2 hours, and towards the end, because it was very late and I was very tired, I decided to cause some havoc in this small town. But now, to see if this card really was something desirable in 2002-2003, its glory years, I decided to compare it with other cards you could buy in that period. All tests were done with an Atron 64 3200 Plus on socket 754. The classic Unreal from 1998. Yeah, why not? The GeForce4 MX struggles even in this, 61 FPS. Such a rookie card. When we switch to 2x anti-aliasing for the GeForce 3 and GeForce4 Ti, the performance drops quite a lot. For the FX 5900 it drops a little. And here I think that the GeForce4 MX anti-aliasing didn't work or it refused to use it. 4x anti-aliasing and 8x anisotropic is too much for the GeForce 3. The MX card doesn't support it, but the Ti 4200 gets 61 average FPS, so that's okay. The FX 5900 is king. In MDK2, a game from 2000 that uses OpenGL, the Ti 4200 performs like this. If you enable 2x anti-aliasing, performance drops by 30%. 4x anti-aliasing and 8x anisotropic, well, as you can see, it drops a lot for the first 3 video cards. The FX card has very good results in anti-aliasing because it has a 256-bit memory bus and a better anti-aliasing engine than the previous GeForces. In Return to Castle Wolfenstein, a game that's very optimized by the way, all cards have excellent performance at 800x600 maximum settings. Also, with 4x anti-aliasing, we have a perfect progression of FPS, 0, 50, 100. We now move to a more demanding game that uses Direct3D and supports DirectX 8 and Pixel Shader 1.3. Ooh! In this game the GeForce 4 MX has given up. It has 3 times less performance than the Ti 4200. The performance drop with anti-aliasing is also considerable for all cards, and again, it did not work on the GeForce 4 MX. The last game is Far Cry, where we have something like this. The GeForce 4 Ti 4200 looks pretty good with 2x anti-aliasing, but at 4x the performance drops by 4 times. I knew this card was very good, and I was not disappointed. The GeForce 4 Ti 4200 was a good blow from Nvidia against ATI supremacy in the mainstream segment, and it's a card that will stay with me forever. That's why I use it rarely. It's not a card I play on for hours on end. It's good for it to remain safe. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much to all of you who made it this far. And until next time, have a great vacation, a pleasant holiday, and stay nostalgic.